All right, big surprise. This is part 2 on how to make people stick. No, it's not. we'll come back to that. This video will be concentrating more on looking at the overall structure. How exactly, you see a lot of demonstrations where the Wing Chun guy seems to have this incredible structure and the guy pushing him can't seem to move him and stuff like that. So what I want to do is go over the concept of it and have you think about certain things regarding that. So, for example, all right, let's say Robert makes a fist and he's pushing into me. So let's say he's pushing hard, okay? So a lot of times you see the guy, go ahead, push. You see how I'm deflecting this force? Well, first of all, when you do it like this, you can't do it like that. It's like saying, here's the force, I'm redirecting the force, and look how incredible my stance is. In reality, the fact is you're not really using your stance here because basically he's pushing and then I'm just guiding him off. And 2, he doesn't know a key component in order how to do this. See, no matter what he does, I'm just pretending, look at my stance. He's not even moving it because he can't get to my stance, all right? So one, that really has nothing to do with stance. It's a simple trick and you can learn that in about 1 day and get your Sifu and Master degree. Online now for only $29.95 in 9 installments. 9 installments of $29.95.
I don't know how much.
So, all right. So if you look at that first, that's the basic way. Is all of a sudden, look at my stance. I'm in my Yichikima stance. He's pushing. Go ahead, push. And then he's trying to get to me, and look, he can't get to me. Even if he pushes hard, I'm redirecting him out of the way. And then that's the most common way to do it first. Then you get the other ones who say that, okay, if you utilize your stance, obviously the ground supports you. And then with the use of the stance, I end up connecting to the ground. And the ground becomes so powerful that I can harness the energy of the ground and earthbend it. All right? But, yeah. But think of it this way, okay? If he's pushing towards me like this, okay, then all of a sudden you're saying the force is coming here into the ground, into my stance, and then towards the ground, and it's like, wow, he pushes harder, and it's like you're like able to withstand everything. But let's look at that concept again. If that were the case, let's say he's a big guy, all right? And let's say the ground will not move because the earth you can't move. So you're saying that's solid. But in between 2 points is your overall structure. So he's a tornado, this is the ground, and you're the house. Eventually, no matter how good your structure is, if you allow the force of that to come into your stance, even with the support of the ground, your structure will collapse. There's no such thing. Because a lot of times Wing Chun people look at it as like, I'm taking the force and I'm absorbing more pounds of pressure, even greater amounts of pressure every single time. Every single time I'm doing that. And in reality, guess what? The more the pressure keeps coming, the ground won't crumble, but your structure will. Okay. So this is more of a look at as far as thinking how exactly is the process happening. When Robert pushes, okay, so let's say this is 10 pounds coming in. Now, if he pushes into me, okay, and let's say I'm utilizing my stance, this 10 pounds is not turning into 20 pounds. And he keeps pushing more. 30 pounds, 40 pounds. And it's not like my stance is, it's sinking to the ground and letting my elbows sink and stuff like that. That is not the case. Like, because as the example I said before is, if you do it in that manner, you will actually crumble, okay? But in reality, the way to do it, or the concept actually first, we'll just talk about the concept for this video. The concept is, when he's pushing towards me, the force is coming into me, yes, the ground is supporting my Yichikima stance, but I'm not getting to the point, the ground supports my Yichikima stance, which then in turn supports my hand. But this 10 pounds, when he's pushing against it, is still 10 pounds. Now, the concept of how to do this properly, or behind it is, when this force comes in, I'm not letting go 10, 20, 30 pounds. When this force comes in, the 10 pounds actually ends up reflecting back to him. So the more he pushes, they keep pushing, push, push, push.
I didn't work out this morning.
Push, Thank God it's not the other hand. All right? So in other words, when the force comes in, right, let's say that's 10 pounds, it stays 10 pounds because I'm not letting it grow onto my stance. In other words, the 10 pounds, the more he pushes, the more he's actually reflecting back to himself. All right? So if you look at his stance here so you can see. If he pushes into me, it's not me having an incredible stance where I'm absorbing more and more force, where there's like 100 people here, and then I can absorb that. In reality, this 10 pounds stays exactly the same. When he starts pushing, you can actually see his stance being affected this way. If it was actually me being affected by it, then what would happen? You'd actually see my feet go like this, and I'd be pushed from that point. All right? So that's the main thing I want you to look at. How exactly, that is the process of how the stance is being utilized. Having a vertical stance using the ground, but it is not me taking the blunt of the force that keeps coming in. It's actually me knowing how to take the force, forcing him to stick to me, and reflecting the force back into him. Okay? So that's the main thing I want you to think about. Hopefully that gives you some ideas. And in part 2, we'll go over the concepts of that. All right, later.